The James Show Podcast.
So state reps are on the run. There they go. They just left Austin. It doesn't matter where they're going. All I know is they're getting the hell out of here. Some of them are going to New York. Some have gone to Chicago. Some have gone to Oklahoma. Some probably went to Whole Foods, but I mean, it's a different story. So what is this all about? Well, this is all about redistricting. This is all about some new maps. And it is a little odd. It's not normal to have your districts redrawn in the middle of the decade. Usually this is something that's done after the census. So, and when the constitutionally mandated census that happens in the 10s, the 20s, 1930, 1940, 1950. So the last regular redistricting we did was 2020. And the big issue here, and no one's going to say it like this because everyone's just walking on eggshells and they're too scary, but I'm not too scared to say it because it's not racist. It's just the Latino vote. It's the Hispanic vote in Texas has gone from blue to red. So in the gerrymandering that happens in every state every 10 years, the gerrymandering math has changed drastically. Once the Hispanic vote flips, that makes any of these districts that were traditionally overwhelmingly Hispanic and so traditionally Democrat, well, now those are turning into Republican districts. If you see, and this isn't across the cold country, this is specific to Hispanics in Texas, even more so than the wider national trend of them kind of drifting toward Team Red and really toward Trump. The issue that it's kind of interesting to see is a district that was 80% Democrat just 10 years ago. I mean, 80% Hispanic just 10 years ago, guaranteed to be Democrat. Now in Texas, guaranteed to be Republican. So that changes the redistricting, that changes the maps, and that ruins it for both parties. Both parties like gerrymandering. Here's a dirty little fact that you probably already realize intuitively. No one just says it on the radio, because the problem with mainstream media is they're partisan to the left. The problem with so many of the few people that aren't partisan to the left is they're partisan to the right. I'm going to be a straight shooter and tell you the truth. Both parties love this. Both parties love gerrymandering. Both parties love the same gerrymandered map for the most part. There's not a whole lot they would change and do differently. And one of the things that it seems counterintuitive is they don't like purple districts. Neither side likes purple districts. So when Team Blue comes out and tells you, well, they're just redrawing these districts to disenfranchise voters. Well, some of the disenfranchise is so subjective. Yes, actually, there's going to be a few people who have an even more concentrated blue district based on the voting trends and changes and patterns and redrawn lines. But if you go through, look at every single state. This is something that happens in every state. Yes, it's illegal to gerrymander, but gerrymander is a subjective term, so you can't nail it down in court. It's like, can you go to court and convict someone of being beautiful? No, because that's a subjective term. No one can say, look, here's the evidence on why this person is beautiful. Someone else will disagree. So it's something subjective that can never be enforced. And the idea that they're going to, New York because, they don't gerrymander up there, it's laughable. Everyone does it. It's just a fact of life. It's not a good thing. I mean, I don't care that much either way. But make no mistake about it, this is not the end of the world for Democrats. And something else to keep in mind is when Brian Harrison was on the show at the beginning of the special session, he pointed out the guy that was running the committee for the redistricting map drawing, cartography, was a Democrat. It was appointed by Justin Burrows, who is supposedly a Republican, but he's one of the head rhinos. And so, yeah, to act like this is really just terrible and the Democrats really hate this is... It's like the bunny griping about being thrown in the briar patch. Oh, no, please don't redistrict the map and solidify my blue seats and give half the purple ones back to the Republicans, and we'll turn a couple of these purple districts back into solid blue districts, and then we don't have to spend a whole lot of money fighting each other. We can spend it on ourselves. Both sides love this, and it's so disappointing. And we'll talk to Brian Harrison coming up in the next segment. He's got some hot sports opinions about this one. But make no mistake, both sides are okay with this. Both sides, to a degree, like it. And when the Democrats protest this much, you got to think, well, y'all didn't protest this much when it came to abortion. Y'all didn't flee the state when that vote was happening. Hey, Democrat voters, why didn't they stick up for you like they're sticking up for their own power right now? When it came to all these other policies that you hate from the Republicans, why didn't they run then? Why did they only run when their power is curtailed, not your preferences are on the line. Just throwing it out there. Here's a quick rundown from WFAA, our news partner here in Dallas, earlier today.
Karen, Mark, at this hour, some Democrats from the state are in Chicago, others are in Boston, even Albany, New York. And this is going to halt any movement in this special session, at least for now. So in the meantime, what comes next? Lawmakers in Texas, or rather that are still here in Texas, will gavel in at 3 p.m. But when roll is called, there won't be enough members present to conduct business. And with more than 51 Democrats out of state, the House will fall short of the 2/3 quorum required to vote on any legislation. So we are at a standstill. So why are they leaving now? Democrats say it was the only way to block President Trump's push for new congressional maps, which could flip as many as 5 seats from blue to red in the state, including some here in North Texas.
So 51 Democrats are on the run from their duties as a representative in the Texas legislature. He continues to be the worst guest in James Show history. It's your local state representative, Brian Harrison from Midlothian. Now, I like Brian, and I like the work he's doing in Austin, but he never has good news for me. Welcome back, Brian.
You always hurt my feelings, but it's great to be with you, my friend.
You're the worst. When have you ever come in and said, "Hey, James, we cut property taxes significantly. It was great," or we got 100% school choice, or it's just.
No, it is the sad reality. If you're getting updates on what's going on down in Austin, you just got to manage your expectations that good news is few and far between, unfortunately. But that's a direct result not of the voters of Texas. That's because of the weak establishment Rhino Austin Uniparty that's run this Texas government for too long.
Okay, so let's get into some brass tacks here. They're fleeing because they don't like the redistricting map. It will cost them seats, but the reason it'll cost them seats is they've lost the Hispanic vote in Texas. And so it's not necessarily the redistricting that's costing them seats. It's the fact that they're so damn unpopular with voters that, redistricting is on the table.
No, the Democrat popularity is circling the toilet after Joe Biden's Kamala Harris's thumping in the last election when President Trump was reelected in Texas with a 14-point landslide. But the reality is they're fleeing not because they come up with some bold tactic and snuck one past the Republicans. No, that's what the uniparty rhinos want you to believe. That the reality is this has been known for a very long time. The Democrats were likely to do this, and the fact of the matter is, this is not a success of the Democrats if they thwart our quorum and our ability to pass these maps this special session. I'm going to be really clear. This is an abject failure of the elected Republican leadership in the state of Texas, who had every tool at their disposal to prevent this. Everyone's been asking me all day. I just got off CNN. Everyone's asking me, what are we doing? Well, the question, we have to deal with that now. What do we do? But the right question is, why the hell did elected Republicans in Texas let them leave in the first place? Just 4 days ago, Wednesday, we had a quorum. We had the maps were filed. We had the Democrats. They were here. We could have enforced the quorum and forced them to stay until the maps were done. And instead, the Speaker of the House, who was elected by the Democrats, don't forget this,
right,
adjourned after only 7 minutes, and I'm not making this up, so they could go and strategize with Hakeem Jeffries, who flew down, the Democrat leader of Congress, last Wednesday evening. This is a total betrayal of the voters of Texas. The Democrats never should have been allowed to leave in the first place.
Well, it's got a national storyline to it now because it's on MSNBC, it's on Fox News, it's on CNN.
On everywhere.
Yeah, so, Brian, after all the hemming and hawing, I feel like the Republicans don't really care if this map gets passed. I feel like the Democrats don't really care if this map gets passed. I just see them blowing up over what may be one of the, I don't know, this just feels like one of the least important topics that you and I have talked about in the legislative session.
Well, here's what I think is the reality. The Democrats, we only have less than 2 weeks left in the special session. So I think they viewed, and given the fact that the Republican leadership in the Texas House is basically complicit, they viewed it as probably a free shot. And what has to happen now is that Republicans have to prove that our words is not all we've got, but that we're willing to take bold action to force them back here. And look, the leadership has never done anything to the Dems when we were here. But here's the reality. We're not just in special session for redistricting. I do think it's important because, I mean, we may only have a 1 or 2 seat majority in the U.S. Congress. So Democrat state after Democrat state has redistricted to give them massive advantages, way more than Republican states like Texas. So I firmly agree with President Trump that we should do this. But here's the other reality that we can't get past is the background, the context. How did we get here into special sessions in the first place? And we got here because we didn't pass just about any real bold Republican bills during the regular session. Property taxes are going up. We didn't do almost anything on election integrity. So, taxpayer-funded lobbying. I mean, all the stuff that Republican voters want us to do, we abjectly failed. And so the Democrats have found a way, just like they did in the regular session, to run out the clock. But I got to even correct myself. It's not the Democrats found a way to run out the clock. It's Republicans let the Democrats run out the clock. That's what's happening here again in the special session.
Well, I see, this is rare when you have both sides, both political parties, who are just completely screwing over their voters. Because the Republicans, their voters sent them there to get lower property taxes, to get school choice. And, Democrats, they didn't see their representative. I'm talking about the Democrat voters. They didn't see their representatives fleeing the state to preserve abortion, one of their big priorities, or to preserve THC, or to keep sexy books in school libraries. They did it to preserve their own power in Congress. So right now, I think everyone who voted for the major parties has a reason to be upset with their party.
Well, I think there's absolutely a reason for voters in Texas to feel betrayed, to feel let down. They look, I'm multi-generation Texan. I love this state. We have the reputation for leading in freedom and liberty. You have talked about this, but the sad and just it's heartbreaking and it's infuriating. We have not been living up to our bold, small government, pro-liberty reputation. Instead, we've just been coasting on it. And it's past darn time that we end that and start delivering for the people of Texas. And most importantly, start putting Texas taxpayers first. I am sick and tired of Texans having to worry about whether they're going to be taxed out of their homes because property taxes are totally out of control. And for what? The Texas government is taxing Texans out of their homes to fund the Biden-Harris-Pelosi agenda, DEI, transgender indoctrination, liberal Hollywood, billions of dollars going to liberal Hollywood because of so-called Republicans that have run the Texas government for, quite frankly, far too long. Texans deserve way better than the crap they're getting from their government.
We're talking with Brian Harrison, state rep out of the Midlothian area. For the Dustin Burrows crowd, the rhinos that like to run out the clock, they're probably not upset about these guys fleeing. They're like, oh, no, come back. Don't. You're going to run out the clock.
Yeah, I mean, well, if they cared, I mean, you can't. When they're going to. So, look, prepare yourself. In 2 hours or in an hour, 30 minutes, whenever we're on the floor, prepare yourself for some, of the worst kabuki theater, smoke and mirrors, red herrings, drama that you've ever seen. They are going to be indignant. No, they're going to be mad. And they are going to file some sternly worded resolutions that we can't pass because we don't have a quorum. They'll talk about stripping them of their committee chairmanships. They might even take away their parking spots. I mean, this is what's going to happen. Here's the facts. If Dustin Burrows and his team wanted redistricting to have happened, redistricting would have already happened. If he didn't want them to break quorum, he had all the tools to keep them from breaking quorum.
Okay.
Do not fall for the theater that's about to come.
And you're just going right through my notes here because my next point is if Dustin Burrows is doing the bidding, or at least indifferent to the bidding of the Democrats in this situation, which would make sense, they voted for him to be the speakership, then this guy is really screwing over Donald Trump hitting the wish, because
absolutely
we're being told this is Donald Trump's agenda. Then why is Dustin Burrows the one guy that's standing in the way of it? Why is he the one guy who's allowing this to happen?
If I were the Trump White House, and I've got kind of a unique perspective on this, I had the honor of serving as a senior member of President Trump's first term, but everybody in the White House would be completely justified in being furious right now, but not at the Democrats, but at the Republican leadership of the state of Texas that allowed them to do this when they had all the tools to stop them.
All right, so Dustin Burrows is a garbage human being that's at the top of the rhino list that I put together with the guy you're listening to right now, Representative Brian Harrison from Midlothian. If you want to get a hold of it, let me know. I'll send you a link to the Rhino list. And that's all we can do, I guess. In the meantime, we just got to wait for the primaries and then hear more bad reports from you, Brian.
And just make sure voters know, like, don't let the Austin Uniparty do its favorite trick, which is to blame the Democrats for their own failings. There are not enough Democrats down here to stop anything or to ever force anything through. The things that happen in Austin, they only ever happen if elected Republicans let it happen. And in this case, that includes quorum breaks. So, yeah, Texas voters deserve better, and I'm doing everything I can to deliver for them and to protect the liberty for the next generation of Texans. And I appreciate you and your audience, by the way, James, for doing so much to help open the eyes of 30 million Texans to the complete corruptions and the betrayal that's happening at the hands of so-called Republicans down here in the swamp of Austin.
All right. Well, no, thank you for another terrible report from Brian Harrison, Republican out of Midlothian, a state rep. One of the few still left in Austin, I guess. I appreciate your candor, sir, and thanks for the update from Austin.
Always great to be with you, my friend. God bless you. God bless Texas.
One screen is on MSNBC. One of them's on Fox News today. And I'm seeing both of them talking about the redistricting fight here in Texas because some Democrats have fled. They took off. Some of them did the old thing. And look, how long have you been here? Are you from here? Because if you're from here, you've seen this. This happens. Transplants, this happens. They're like, what's going to happen? They're going to get arrested? No, they might get fined, but whoop-de-doo. In fact, let's go to our news partner, WFAA, to see what exactly these people are facing because they're fleeing. What would the punishments be? It's not. It doesn't sound bad at all.
You may be asking this morning, what happens when lawmakers go absent to break quorum? Well, there are some pricey consequences like $500 in fines per day for each member who's gone. And that can add up quickly, as much as $8,000 per lawmaker if they stay out the full 15 days left in this special session.
Oh, jeepers, not $8,000. How will I recover from that? You mean keeping my office? Not spending a day in jail? Boy, what a punishment that is. I really regret my decision. Boy, $8,000 or 5 congressional seats. Which one's more valuable? Idiots. It's probably going to work, too, because I don't think the Republicans are really going to fight for this map thing. And then again, I can really see this both ways. Because when you look at the way that they draw the maps in every state, Republicans love gerrymandering. Democrats love gerrymandering. In purple states, they still have gerrymandering. Blue states gerrymandering, red states gerrymandering. Everybody does it. And the only reason you see everybody do it is because both big parties love it. They don't want contested elections because they don't know whether or not they can count on that seat. Then they have to go spend a whole bunch of money. And if they're going to make you do it there, then you can make them do it in this other seat. And then the next thing you know, everyone's out of money because they're wasting it all on these stupid little seats when we could all just agree with the gentleman's handshake between the apparatchik leaders of Team Red and Team Blue that we'll just gerrymander and you fuss in the blue states and we'll fuss in the red states. But at the end of the day, we'll both come together. Now, what's the argument against this? Well, of course, it's racist. Here's the governor. Hey, hang on, lady. This is the governor of New York, Kathy Hochul.
Of course, where did this come from? Well, Donald Trump came up with this scheme, perhaps with some help with AI. I don't know. But
hang on. Really? Just throwing that out there. AI. No one thought of redistricting before AI. We hadn't had gerrymandering since day one in this country. It might be AI. Who knows? Yeah. Yeah, this is a real innovative strategy, redrawing the redistricting maps.
They have literally redrawn 5.
Literally, y'all. Not figuratively, not technically, not imaginatively, not quickly, not rapidly, not slowly. Literally.
Congressional districts, primarily representing communities of color that need the representation.
Say it.
They've drawn racist lines.
There it is. Yeah.
To disenfranchise millions of Texans.
Yeah, that's right. We're making the Latino districts more Latino because they vote red now. It's the opposite of racism here because we have a non-white demographic that's actually on Team Red now. So you can go and throw that racist out the window. That ain't happening. And so let's see. What are you saying here? Why do we need to do this, Kathy Hochul?
Americans don't want a system that's stacked against them. They believe in fairness. It's fundamental. And I'll tell you this, they're done with the chaos. They're done with the cruelty. And I would say they're ready to vote Republicans out of power in Washington, certainly in the upcoming 2026 elections. Republicans know this. They've seen the polls. They know they're sliding downhill because Americans are rejecting their policies. So this is why they're fighting.
I've got the receipts. Here's Harry Enton, the CNN pollster from last week, talking about how bad the GOP is not sliding in the polls.
The Democratic Party. And let's take a look at Dems, and let's look at their net favorable ratings. Whoa. Woof. I mean, my God. You know, we mentioned CNN. We had that poll come out a little while ago on their net favorable rating. They were 26 points underwater. You think that's low enough? How about we go even lower? We'll go to this side of the screen. I'm going to walk over here. We go to the Wall Street Journal. Minus 30 points. 30 points underwater. Their lowest on record. These polls have records going all the way back since the early 1990s.
All right, that's enough, Harriet. So what you see there is the Democrats are polling the worst that they've polled going back to the beginning of these polls in the 1990s. But Kathy Hochul says they're doing this because the GOP is sliding in the polls. Oh. So first, the lie that it's racist. Second is because GOP is unpopular. What's the third lie on your fake fight against the redistricting map?
As governor of a state where many of those early battles took place, we're commemorating them next year. Those battles for freedom were here. That's why I cannot stand by and let this happen while Donald Trump and his co-conspirator, Greg Abbott, erode our democracy and drag us toward authoritarianism.
Spit it out.
What Texas and Republican states are doing at the direction of Donald Trump, I say is nothing short of a legal insurrection against our capital. Legal meaning they're using the legal process. Does not mean it's legal, and it must be stopped.
So it's an insurrection, too. That's it. It's racist. It's because the GOP is unpopular, and this counts as an insurrection. So now that we've established that redistricting is something you do because your party's terribly unpopular, redistricting is evil because if you do it in the middle of a decade, it counts as an insurrection, and it's probably racist, immoral, unethical. It's the worst thing in the world. So Kathy says, so we're going to do it. What?
If Republicans are willing to rewrite these rules to give themselves an advantage, then they're leaving us no choice. We must do the same. There's a phrase, you have to fight fire with fire.
No.
That is a true statement of how we're feeling right now. And as I've said, another overused but applicable phrase, all's fair in love and war.
Well, this
That's
isn't
why
love nor
I'm
war.
exploring with our leaders every option to redraw our state congressional lines as soon as possible.
All's fair in love and war. This isn't love. This isn't war. Oh, yeah, this is so evil that I guess we're going to have to do it too. Does that account for anything else that is considered immoral or unethical? Can you believe so-and-so cheated on their wife? I guess I'm going to have to cheat on mine too. I guess that'll make it even. No. Can you believe so-and-so murdered somebody? I guess I'm going to have to go murder somebody. Can you believe so-and-so cheated on their taxes? I guess I'm going to have to cheat on it. It doesn't work. None of your rationale works. Nothing you said made sense. You didn't make one valid point in all that. It's not racist. It's not because the GOP sliding in polls. It's not an insurrection. And if it's so damn bad and immoral, you're going to do it. That disproves your point. Coming up next, even worse. What the heck did Jasmine Crockett say this time? She was in Austin on Friday at a hearing in your state capital talking about redistricting. You'll hear her next on The James Show. Jim Verdi, the producer for was Dan Bongino, now The Vince Show, who says New York just did redistricting in 2024 to get rid of 3 Republican seats. Oh, my goodness. Well, that would make... Was it racist when they did it, Jim? Was it racist when Kathy Hochul did it and signed it? Oh, my goodness. Was it an insurrection when Kathy Hochul did it and signed it? Huh, that's so weird because you were just told, you just heard in the last segment that it was racist and it was because the Republican Party is wildly unpopular and it was an insurrection. Oh, no. Is it because the Democrats were wildly unpopular? What happened? So thank you very much to Jim Verdi for throwing that out there. And now he sent me a link. And, yep, people on the internet have discovered that, and it's being thrown around social media. And the truth wins again. Who needs fact checkers these days when you have Twitter/X? But we're talking about the redistricting map here in Texas where they want to change the congressional districts. It would, by most analysts' guesses increase the number of dedicated Republican seats here in the state of Texas. So you've had a few state reps run off to Chicago, Oklahoma, New York City, or no, actually Albany, not New York City.
New York City!
Played it anyway. You'll hear Jasmine Crockett said about it in the State House of Texas on Friday. But first, here is Kevin, North Richland Hills. You're on WBAP.
Hello, James.
Hello, Kevin.
I gotta pose a question, but first, don't disrespect Brer Rabbit. Okay, in Song of the South.
Did you say Briar Rabbit?
Brer Rabbit.
Yes. Okay.
You mentioned that earlier.
I'm glad you got the reference.
Okay. So, all right. I already know the answer to this question, but I want you to say it in the air. Who's paying for all these tickets going to these cities? And they don't fly coach; they fly first class.
I don't know if there is a straight answer to that, because if they can by any way stretch this to make it work related, then this can come out of either their budget that they get from the state or their own campaign budget. Other than that, there's a lot of people who are state reps who are already independently wealthy, or they're wealthy because, they've been in the state house and gotten a little bit of grift out of the thing. So some of these people are paying for it themselves, but, they don't really have their own money in these situations unless they're rich. So a lot of these people are rich people who can afford it anyway. Jasmine Crockett's, if I'm not mistaken, she's worth millions. She doesn't need any help to go fly off to another state. I mean, she was actually here on Friday. I don't know where she's at now. But who do you think's paying for all these? Because you act like you know the answer to that. Now, I thought it was sort of a diffused, multi-answered question.
I think we are.
You think it's all on the taxpayers?
Yes, sir, I do. And
I don't think it is. I really don't.
Okay, all right.
I mean, it only shouldn't make you feel much better about it. It's still a sleazy deal.
I understand the whole. I understand the whole concept. But anyway, so zippity doo dah, zippity day. Thank you for my time.
Good stuff. That's Kevin, North Richland Hills. Good question to ask. I don't know. It doesn't look. On one hand, I'm kind of worked up about this. On the other hand, not so worked up about it. I'm being told that it's a Democrat National Party's paying for some of this. I believe that. I hope it's not coming from us, but that's one of the smaller details that has me excited or not excited about this. In fact, I'm not even that excited about the map. So what if we do get 5 more Republican seats out of the state of Texas? What are they going to do? Not balance the budget? Increase spending again? What happens? What happens if these guys get replaced, the Democrats in the state legislature in Austin again? We're going to send more rhinos down there, so we're not going to get school choice. We're not going to get property tax cuts. So to a nonpartisan, to the independents out there, this is just annoying. This is both sides getting their heads all caught up their butt about this partisan stuff. Democrat National Party pays for all of it? All of it. Bruce says Democrat National Party pays for all of it. Okay. Well, that's awful nice of them. Jasmine Crockett was in Austin on Friday, and the lady you're going to hear at the beginning of this was sort of setting the stage that I thought was worthy of the context, so I left it in there. It's State Representative Katrina Pearson, who's a Republican here in the Texas District of 33. So she starts off by reminding her that Trump won a majority of the Hispanic vote in Texas, which kind of undercuts the stuff that Jasmine Crockett says, like, for the next 30 seconds after that. So we'll go through this kind of start-stop mode. But I just want you to hear, and I guess to make it official, it's another episode of What the Heck Did Jasmine Crockett Say This Time?
Jasmine Crockett, queen of the liberal tea. Bleach blonde, bad-built butch body, Governor Hot Wheels, and he is a hot-ass mess, honey. Queen of the liberal tea.
In previous hearings, I mentioned specifically that in the state of Texas, President Trump did win a majority of the Hispanic voters in the state. And just to broaden that even further, those are the numbers. President Trump did win the majority of the Hispanic votes in the state. In fact, he flipped, I believe it was 10 counties in the state. So don't you think that is reflective of this map, this proposed map, that the minorities who are here with the new minority districts that have been created, it is reflective?
All right, pause. That was Katrina Pearson. This is Jasmine Crockett.
No, Representative, I don't. Again, it's just based upon, this is just pure math. Like, I'm not trying to pick who is going to vote for who, because as it was stated earlier, the idea that anybody is a monolith is wild anyway, right? Because first of all, Latinos down at the border, they are not the same as Latinos, say, in the DFW or in Harris County. So I don't want to pretend as if any minority group is a monolith, which is one of the reasons that we talk about communities of common interest, because we work together and we function together and we do things a little differently. I'm sure there are even black folk in Houston that will argue that they're not the same as Dallas black people, right? So it's an ongoing thing, but nevertheless.
All right, I'm just going to pause it real quick. When was the last time you heard the term Anglo?
But nevertheless, what I will say is that is why you shouldn't just be grabbing up people from wherever and saying, oh, well, they all the same race. It is bigger than that. It is trying to make sure, and you brought up compactness earlier. And so compactness is one of those things that you consider as well, because again, it is different. When you look at a state the size of Texas, you know how many states you can fit in our state, right? So thinking about it in that way, a reflective map would look like the fact that only 39% of this state is Anglo. So how in the heck do we have 60% of the seats that go to D.C. are going to be decided by Anglos?
Hang on. When we return, we'll continue with what the heck did Jasmine Crockett say this time. Are you an Anglo? Sean, are you an Anglo? Garrett, are you an Anglo? Is that what she means? Bruce, are you Anglo? We're trying to figure out this Anglo mystery next on The James Show. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.
The James Show Podcast.